And why the heck is John Radcorn right there? Like, where do they find these characters? I can't look at Johnny Bravo and John Redcorn and take this conversation serious no more. All right, let's get through it. Let's get through it together.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women.
Without even hearing anybody say a word, just the optics of this, alphas versus beta. How do you sign up for this discussion as one of the betas in this equation? It would be perfectly acceptable to say, I don't accept the alpha male, beta male paradigm. There's plenty of ways to look at or measure manhood and all the moving parts within in this modern society. So I reject the premise. That would be an acceptable thing to say. But you're basically saying, no, I accept the premise that there's a such thing as an alpha. There's a such thing as a beta. I'm a beta. I'm a lesser man than the men here that I'm in a discussion with, or I'm beta in relationship to with my woman. Like, in order to even accept this discussion and be one of the betas in the discussion, you have to concede that. And that's just wild to me.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women.
Short answer to that question is yes, whether or not you choose to or have the ability to do so is a completely different story. But I think it's hard to say that we're not genetically hardwired through evolution in some way, shape, or form to at least want to do it or desire to do so. But let's hear what they got to say.
I think a man can absolutely be head over heels in love with a woman and still sleep with other women and it not mean anything to him.
Right.
And I think all men have the proclivity to want to sleep with other women. Now, whether they're able to speak to that and actually act on that or not, or if they've been able to, like you said, like religiously find a way to work around it. And I think religion has been great for that, because if it weren't for religion, we probably would not have society.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. But the question is that the end point? Is being with multiple women the end point? I'm of the firm belief that it is important to position yourself as a man to have the capacity to be with as many women as you possibly can, and position yourself in a way where you understand female nature and you maximize your potential as a man. And that's where I don't necessarily agree that just because there's a deeper desire to continue to do it means it's going to be the most optimal thing for you and your own ability to thrive at the highest level and connect with God here on earth.
Now, so far, the alphas are being very reasonable. Alphas get a bad rep on the internet, I think, because the only people who I think truly go around calling themselves alphas nowadays are the people who are selling a course on how to be alpha or how to be more alpha. So they have a bad rep. But when you listen to what they're saying, they're actually being reasonable. They're pointing out that yes, we are hardwired to want that. And like you said, you should go out. I mean, you should try to position yourself to where you can have that. And if you want, yes, indulge a little bit, have a little bit of your cake, eat it too. But that's not your final form.
But I think what's most important to identify is that a man should
Johnny Bravo looking mug.
Create choice in his life. And if you have choice, you should be able to do as you wish.
All right. We've heard enough of that. Let's see what the
Beta.
Let's see what the betas got to say on this.
I remember when I would go on tour and things like that.
What the?
My friends would always try to encourage me to hook up with girls that were.
What in the Marilyn Manson is going on here? What? Okay. This is my problem with this show. They can never just have a normal conversation of opposing views where you got two sides that genuinely disagree. Liberal versus conservative, okay. Christian versus atheist, okay. But we gotta get the non-binary peg leg trans albino vampire perspective on this. It's like it just muddies the water of every conversation. What I'm trying to say is that it muddies the water of the legitimate disagreement between the two sides when you bring in somebody who is such an obscure, unique individual to where he's not properly treading on either side. He's his own thing, if calling him he is appropriate. Like, it's like, all right. Okay.
Me. But I wasn't really like into it. And it made me feel like weird, like off, like there was something wrong with me.
Having sex with women made you feel like something was weird or wrong with you? Now look at Johnny Bravo. I see why Johnny Bravo tried to get up when they called the betas over to come join the conversation. And why the heck is John Rantcorn right there? Like, where do they find these characters? Like, you can't even just have a normal conversation. It gets set up to where, yes, this is going to be a good conversation between two opposing sides. I'm happy to hear them have the conversation and hash it all out, but they go and get freaking cartoon characters and aliens to come sit down and have the discussion, and it just takes away from the seriousness of the conversation. I can't look at Johnny Bravo and John Redcorn and take this conversation serious no more, let alone the Marilyn Manson alien dude. Like, all right, let's get through it. Let's get through it together.
Now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm only having sex with multiple women, so I'm not weird, so I'm quote unquote normal. I feel like even when I do have sex with these random women, it doesn't give me any gratification.
What's the over under on whether or not the women that he having sex with are women? Like, but I'm trying to get through he's saying something that matters. He's saying something that matters. So let's get through it. He's saying that I believe he's saying that society puts pressure on him, that like he's supposed to be having relations with lots of women, but when he does it, he feels empty inside or he feels weird, but he's doing it to try to uphold what he thinks masculinity standards are. I believe that's what he's trying to say. So if we can get past the optics, that's a good conversation.
And I know that comes with like random sex in the end, but I know in the back of my mind that like I just like simply don't enjoy this. Like I've been with multiple women and I've been with one woman, and being with one woman is just so peaceful. As far as like telling young men that they're born this way and that they should feel this way, it can really not do damage, but just sort of make you second guess things about yourself. Am I normal? Am I weird? Is there something off about me? Everyone else around me is saying that I have to feel this way or I have to do these things, but yet I don't feel the courage to do those things.
I would say that's not true, though. I don't think that we should promote men sleep with multiple women. I think that we should promote choice and what feels right to you. So in your particular case, I would never tell you to sleep with multiple women. I think you might be doing the right thing to do exactly what you're doing and not do it or stop doing it. It's not about pushing it on the young men, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of young men that have a demon inside and maybe are really upset and frustrated with themselves because they feel a certain way. And it's like, oh, I'm coming out the closet, I'm straight, or super straight or too straight or whatever it is. I think that it's really going to be about choice, man. So if me to you, I tell you if that you don't feel good doing that, man, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree. In your situation, what was happening, and this is what I think a lot of times what happens is you have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you actually desiring. So you don't desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to. Whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to.
I think it's a society.
Way to go, Lucario. Way to go, Lucario. You know, the alphas are making sense here. The men online who call themselves alphas, who have the podcast and the YouTube channels or whatever, they get the reputation of being these closed-minded, one-way, linear thinking, operating in absolutes, and they're clearly being reasonable. And I hear a lot of nuanced conversations coming out of, you know, the male centric content. It doesn't get enough credit for that, but I'm glad they are showcasing it on Jubilee. But I've checked out of the conversation. I do want to hear what John Redcorn has to say, so we're going to hear what John Redcorn got to say, then we pretty much going to wrap it up.
And I understand you. And me, again, I'm going to come back with, you know, just being around it. And me, I'm bisexual. I've always have been. But like you heard me say, I've been married to a woman for 30 years. And I've been committed for 30 years.
Okay, all right, they did it. They an alien trans cross-dresser and bisexual John Redcorn with Johnny Bravo sitting in between them. I can't take it seriously no more. So listen, the link will be in the chat room if you would like to see the full conversation. I do recommend the full conversation. I'm clowning it, but it was actually some decent things, decent points made. Check it out for yourself. Let me know what you think in the comment section about what you saw thus far, but I do recommend you go and watch the full video. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.